Hey y'all. So I looked at the video today and I appreciate the opportunity to do an interview, but obviously I need some more work on doing interviews. I feel like I did not touch on or clarify points within the video that will help people understand therapy, especially if they're looking for a therapist or want to explore it. So let's rewind and let me redo a do-over. So first of all, what is therapy? Therapy is nothing more than a journey of self-exploration, really digging into any past traumas, if you have them, trying to understand and know yourself more, and having somebody to help you navigate through all of that stuff. Because a lot of us, we have a lot of shit to unpack. And you try to do it with your family and your friends, and they have their opinions and they look 2 cents. It's like, no ma'am, no ham. All right. But through therapy, you can honestly see a path of growth and healing. And typically people don't seek out therapy without wanting that in some type of way. So let's think of psychotherapy as a journey of growth, self-development, healing, and self-exploration. Okay, so now let's talk about finding a therapist. So in therapy, you want to find a person where you feel at ease, where you feel a sense of comfort. Even though they may challenge you, you still feel like, okay, this person looking out for me. Like, there should also be a type of, like I was speaking about energy, there should be like an ease to the conversation with that person, with the therapist. You'll know that a therapist is essentially for you if you feel a sense of connection and there's an air of trust. You primarily should be feeling, when I say the connection, you should be feeling heard, understood, and respected. It's not like anything you're telling them, they're going to be like, Good conversation with your therapist feels not just like you're talking to your family members or your favorite coworker, your bestie at work or whatever. It's more or less a sense of being seen and fully understood, non-judged, non-biased opinions of what is going on with you. So to find a therapist, you can search online directories like Psychology Today or the American Psychological Association. You can get recommendations from friends, other family members, whoever you know that is seeing someone for psychotherapy. And you should be considering the specifics of what you're looking for. Like any specializations, like say if you want to delve into past trauma, or if you just want someone to help you learn new skills to navigate stress or that new job you have. Any cultural considerations, like I want to speak to a Black woman specifically, or a Black man, or someone who has experience in trauma or cognitive behavioral therapy. It could be a lot, but I think you will know when you stumble upon the right person. So therapy, your sessions may vary widely depending on the therapist you choose. You have some therapists that are very active and engaged with you. They ask you questions, they kind of dig a little bit deeper to help you understand yourself and to understand where you're coming from. Sometimes I found that if you find a person who is aligned with your culture, if you already got that kind of vibe, that kind of connection. So therapy is nothing less than you exploring emotions, wanting to talk about relationships, or saying, hey, well, that kind of felt wrong to me. What do you think about this? Or what is a healthier way for me to deal or cope with my relationships, or with a difficult person that I know, or hell, with myself? Like, are you battling negative thoughts? Like, teach me how to slow down enough where I can understand what those negative thoughts are. Like, it just depends on what you are working on, but it should always feel safe. and it's really up to you. It's talking through your feelings. It is, hey, can you teach me how to be more assertive? Can you teach me how to stand 10 toes on my boundaries? Like, y'all standing on business out here, right? So where we at with them boundaries? And, look at my t-shirt, y'all. But yeah, me personally, I really enjoy providing therapy for people that look like me and I look like them. Like, we just have not every single time, but for the most part, we here. And so part of finding a therapist is also, do they align with your experiences? Do they understand your experiences? It's not just about being Black or African American, but they also must know the ins and outs of the field. They need to understand the universal aspects of mental health. It needs to be combined together. To gauge whether a therapist is a good fit for you, I would be asking questions like, what is your modality? Or like, how do you get down in therapy? For instance, like, do you have experience with what I'm seeking help for? Like, are you familiar with this? Have you treated people in the past or even now that have the same issue that I'm having? You should also be sharing your expectations of therapy. Typically, you will collaborate with your therapist to create goals for yourself so you can measure, like, okay, I started here. Now 3 to 6 months to a year down the line, you can see progression. Damn, mouth to look. Also, therapy is about building trust. Most of the time for me, luckily, I can build a rapport really quickly. I've been through a lot of shit. So things that come to me is not outside of my wheelhouse. So I just get down with it. Like, start asking questions, really getting to know them, letting them know things about me, certain parts of self-disclosure, like, hey, I do have experience with that. Matter of fact, I'm still working on parts of that for myself. Like, we're not perfect people, but we have gone through some steps to get where we are to be able to help other people, if that makes sense. So essentially, your therapist is there to guide you, but you literally set the pace. If you don't feel comfortable talking about something, right out the gate, that's fine. You will build that rapport with your therapist until you do feel comfortable doing so. And that's perfectly fine. Now let's talk about something I mentioned in the original interview was how, one of the questions posed was, how is therapy different than talking to your friends or your family members? And, we all probably have that one or two people we could talk to and kick it to, right? But with therapy, it's going to be a little bit different because the therapist is unbiased. They also have your best interests at heart. Now, not saying anything about your family and your friends and stuff, but we all know we have had a few people in our lives that when we did talk to them about certain things, they might have given us advice in a way that benefited them more, or what they thought they would do in their life, but we're two different people, right? So therapy is different in that way. Your best interest is always at the forefront. Like, if you don't feel like you want to do something, okay, cool, don't do it. But let me remind you of these goals that you set on at the beginning, right? And if you're having challenges, like, speaking up for yourself more, if that was one of the goals, for instance, like, let's talk about it. We can kind of go down the rabbit hole of like, well, why do you feel that way? Where did you even learn to suppress your own thoughts and feelings when other people are involved? Like, so therapy is different in that way. Plus, we're not going to be like, girl, let me tell you who such and such told me in therapy. No, ma'am. Like, first of all, it's unethical. Secondly, why would we even do that? Typically, we wouldn't know anyone that It's just, it's a safe space for you to get all your stuff out and you to explore all of your stuff without feeling fear of it getting out or people talking about you behind your back or whatever the case may be. Okay, so another thing that was mentioned was the cost of therapy. That can vary greatly. It depends on if you have insurance or not, if you have like an employee assistance program at your job, whether or not the therapist takes insurance or they only require self-pay, which can vary. Some therapists have sliding scales. So if their main rate is say 125, 145, but if they have a sliding scale, that will accommodate, what you can afford, oftentimes you can go from maybe $30 to $80. It just kind of depends on the therapist that you're seeking out. But no matter the cost and whatever you can afford and however you can be accommodated, therapy is definitely an investment in your well-being, and it's a worthy investment in that as well. Like you gonna go get that new lace front. You know what I'm saying? That lace front, my lashes, I know y'all reuse them and stuff, but therapy can teach you skills and help you process things that will carry forward into the rest of your life, not just momentarily. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? And lastly, I wanted to discuss therapy when you feel like you're good, you're in a good space. That's fine. Just checking in momentarily to make sure you are staying on track. Hey, how are you with those goals? How are you on your boundaries these days? It's really about just checking in. It's kind of like maintenance on your car. Like, you're not finna ride that boy out till all the oil go out of it. It's gonna start clanking on you. So think of yourself in that same manner, especially if you are more of a caretaker of other people in your circle or in your family or in your realm, where you're the go-to person. You being asked for advice, you're giving advice, you are, helping people, bailing people out a lot. You're gonna need somebody to take care of you and have your back, and you need to feel supported in those times in life. So you could be doing well, cool, but to maintain that wellness, go holler at your therapist. Did that rhyme? To maintain that wellness, go holler at your therapist. So yeah. So in closing remarks, remember that your mental health journey is unique. It's very unique to you. What somebody else might need to go to therapy for might not be your jam. That might not be your thing. You might not have an issue with that. Let's not judge each other for needing a safe space to talk to people and really get our stuff out. Finding the right support and understanding yourself better is ideal. It is helpful, and it's something that you can carry with you, where you are also, maybe breaking generational curses. Maybe your parents or in any of your other family members, they might need therapy, but they don't go. So that brings another challenge while you're healing, while you are maintaining yourself and growing and learning. You may be still having to socialize in similar environments that maybe brought you to therapy in the first place. And so you will need a community behind you that will help you stay 10 toes on what you've learned, stay 10 toes on those boundaries, making sure you're taking good care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, all the things. Like, you deserve that. Y'all can reach out to me. Facebook page, Mental Health Monarchs, Bishop Butterscotch, of course. And, visit the website, mentalhealthmonarchs.org. And if you want this t-shirt, mentalhealthmonarchs.org in the shop. I hope that you seek therapy for your own enrichment, for your own emotional safety, and your own personal development and growth. Like, we all deserve to be the best possible selves that we can be. So, yeah, fuck with me.